Imagine for a second that you are driving down this incredibly dark, totally isolated rural highway.
Right, like real pitch black.
Yeah, exactly. The kind of road where the trees seem to just sort of lean in from the shoulders, you know?
Oh yeah, where your headlights barely even cut through the gloom.
Right. And you haven't seen the taillights of another car for miles. You are way out in the forgotten, rusted-out stretches of western Pennsylvania.
Dookie.
Definitely. And suddenly, just completely out of the dark, you stumble upon this dilapidated, glowing blue and white gas station.
Okay, I can picture it.
But it's not just like any roadside stop. Up on its weathered marquee in these big block letters that are practically begging you to believe them.
Okay.
It proudly proclaims to be the exact spot where a legendary country singer vanished off the face of the earth.
Wow.
Right, nearly 2 decades ago. Just poof, gone. And oh, here is the absolute kicker.
Let's hear it.
The guy who owns the gas station. He found a baby abandoned by the pumps that exact same night.
I mean, it honestly sounds like the opening scene of a gothic thriller.
It really does.
Or maybe like the first verse of a very dark country music murder ballad, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
But what you're actually describing is the epicenter of this remarkably complex web of secrets. Because, well, we like to think that when people disappear, they just evaporate into the ether.
Right, like they just cease to exist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they don't do that at all. They leave behind these profound gaping voids that other people are literally forced to figure out how to fill.
And that is exactly the mission of our deep dive today. We are embarking on a journey into the excerpts of Amy Jo Burns' novel, Wait for Me.
Such an incredible book.
It really is. And we have this massive stack of source material here that is going to take us through 2 very distinct, very intense timelines.
Right, the dual timelines are crucial here.
Yeah. On one hand, we have this cosmic, like literal earth-shattering event in 1991.
Uh-huh.
And on the other hand, we are dragging you back into the gritty, ruthless, neon-lit Nashville music scene of the early 1970s.
It's a journey that forces us to untangle so much. I mean, we're looking at stolen music.
Which is wild.
Oh, yeah. Draft dodgers hiding in the woods, devastating generational family grief, and just the absolute extreme lengths that people will go to in order to completely reinvent themselves.
It really is a story about the agonizing cost of ambition.
And the crushing weight of the past.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because this deep dive is going to fundamentally challenge how you view the entire concept of moving on.
Yeah, it really flips that idea on its head.
It does. It asks a really uncomfortable question. Are the myths we tell about ourselves actually protecting us?
Right?
Or are they the very things keeping us trapped in the past?
Such a good question.
And to answer that, we really have to start at that gas station. We have to look at the strange, totally frozen in time world of the Shaw family in 1991.
Where the past isn't just remembered, it is literally treated as a holy artifact.
Exactly. So we are introduced to Abe Shaw and his 18-year-old daughter, Marijohn.
They live in this super isolated town called Lenora, Pennsylvania.
Right, running that exact gas station we just talked about.
Now, Abe is, well, he's a man consumed.
Totally consumed.
He is obsessed with the folk country legend, Elle Harlow. In the mythology of this world, Elle Harlow is this staggering star who just vanished without a trace in 1973.
Right after a legendary blistering set at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville.
Yeah. She just drives off into the night in her Studebaker with her custom pink and white 1970s guitar and is never seen again.
And Abe is utterly, completely convinced that his gas station was her last stop.
Right.
He has literally turned his repair shop into a museum of supposed Elle Harlow relics.
It's wild.
And the crown jewel of this museum is the gas pump itself. It bears this faded signature and a lyric written in permanent marker.
Oh, I love this part.
It says, "Try to heal everything and you'll heal nothing at all."
And Abe treats that pump like a sacred text. I mean, he won't even let customers touch it.
Which is terrible for a gas station business.
Right, exactly. And he curates these other items too, like a stuffed calico cat, a rhinestone beret.
All fake, obviously.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
He's buying them from obvious scammers who claim they belong to Elle.
Yeah.
He pays exorbitant amounts of money that he and Marijohn desperately need, by the way, for what is essentially just junk.
Right. But he pays for the story.
Exactly. He pays for the proximity to the myth.
It's heartbreaking, really, because I'm looking at my notes here, and it's clear Abe's gas station is basically an emotional fallout shelter.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. Like, Isn't he using this obsession to mask the trauma of his own profound loneliness?
Oh, absolutely.
Because think about it, Abe has no family of his own. He lost his parents young. He never married.
Right.
Isn't Abe basically curating this gas station the same way someone today might continuously refresh the social media page of an ex?
Wow.
You know what I mean? You are creating a narrative out of tiny fragments, out of digital dust, specifically to avoid engaging with the messy reality of your present moment.
That is a highly accurate way to frame his psychology. He is building a shrine to an absence. He prefers the clean, unchanging nature of a ghost to the messy reality of living people.
Completely.
And the profound irony here, the tragedy, really is Marijohn's existence.
Right, the baby.
Abe spends his life buying these fake memorabilia items, clinging to the ghost of Elle Harlow, completely ignoring the fact that the only authentic thing left at the gas station that freezing December night in 1973 was Marijohn herself.
Wow, yeah.
The imposter who stopped for gas left an infant in a wicker trunk by the pumps.
Just left her there.
Yeah. Marijohn is the only true artifact, and yet she is the one who has to constantly validate her father's delusions about the fakes.
And Marijohn acts as this hyper-pragmatic protector of her father's fragile heart. She actually lets him believe his delusion.
She even asked to put her hands on the gas pump when he cleans it.
Right, pretending to feel the magic, because she knows that his belief in Elle Harlow is what gave him a family. He didn't have anyone until that baby showed up.
Yeah.
But, like, what does that do to an 18-year-old girl? To know that your origin story is basically being a piece of abandoned luggage, secondary to a fake autograph.
It creates a deeply complicated internal landscape. I mean, Marijohn has built her entire core identity around the concept of being unwanted by her biological mother.
Which is so heavy.
It is. Her defense mechanism is to become tough, cynical, and highly observant. She finds solace only in the darkness of the woods.
And in the music, right?
Yes, in the music of an old, broken mandolin that was also left in that trunk with her.
Right.
The text notes that she doesn't fear the dark because it sings to her. She is fiercely loyal to Abe, fiercely protective, but underneath that armor, she is aching.
She really is.
She is starving for a mother figure to give her context, to explain why she wasn't worth keeping.
You can really feel that starvation in the way she plays that mandolin. She plays these old country records with her dad, providing the harmony to a ghost.
Yeah,
She's basically playing a nocturne for someone too far away to hear it.
that's beautifully said.
Thanks. But a life built on preserving the past, on playing back up to a ghost, just cannot survive when the universe decides it is time to intervene.
And in this story, the universe literally throws a rock at them.
Literally.
We have to move from the stagnant, dusty air of the gas station to the explosive, inciting incident.
We are talking about the meteor.
Right. On a late August evening in 1991, an actual meteor tears through the sky and strikes the woods of Lenora.
Directly impacting the ravine where Marijohn spends all her time.
Yeah, this isn't just a background event. It is the catalyst for the entire narrative rupture.
And right before this cosmic rock hits, we get this incredibly tense, intimate scene between Marijohn and her best friend Lazarus.
Alice.
Yeah, Laz. He is this beautiful, talented preacher's son. He's the golden boy with a killer jump shot and a voice that could make him famous.
Oh, totally.
But he is terrified of his own musical gifts. He is literally packing his bags to leave for college the next morning to become an accountant.
Yeah, Calman.
I know. He wants to bury his immense talent in ledgers and spreadsheets.
Well, their dynamic is basically a study in contrasts. They spend their summers in the woods writing music together, but they constantly clash over the tone.
Right.
Laz is entirely focused on the idyllic. He writes these dreamy, sweeping love songs. He wants safety.
And Marijohn is the exact opposite.
Conversely, Marijohn writes gritty, bloody murder ballads.
Right.
She writes about betrayal and loss because that is her emotional baseline. They cannot even finish a song together because they cannot agree on what the world actually looks like.
So they are sitting in the cab of Laz's dusty blue Chevy truck. The tension is just palpable.
Oh, yeah.
Laz is leaving. Marijohn realizes this is her last chance, so she leans in and kisses him. She offers him everything.
And his reaction.
It's awful. Laz stiffens. He pulls away, wipes his mouth, and brutally rejects her.
Yeah.
He tells her he doesn't want to leave her behind, and this is a direct quote, "Repeat what your mother did."
It is a devastating line.
It's a gut punch.
He uses her deepest trauma, her abandonment, as a shield to protect himself from his own fear of intimacy and his fear of staying.
Right.
He genuinely believes that if he lets himself love her, he will inevitably destroy her, Or she will hollow him out the way Abe's obsession has hollowed him out.
He just wants out.
He wants the clean, predictable path of an accountant, not the messy, agonizing reality of loving a girl who carries that much darkness.
It's just so sad.
Man.
And literally seconds after he says this cruel thing, the sky rips open.
Meteor.
The text describes it so vividly. It says the sky looks like a dragged cigarette.
I love that imagery.
Me too. There's a peal of thunder, the smell of burning tires and dead bodies rising from the dirt. The meteor strikes. And what does Marijohn do?
She doesn't run away?
Nope. She immediately wants to run toward the crater in the ravine.
Yeah.
She forces Laz to knot his truck blankets together to form this makeshift rope so they can descend into the wreckage.
What's fascinating here is how the meteor functions as the ultimate narrative disruptor. It literally unearths the buried past. The earth breaks open, the riverbed is churned up, and down in that smoldering wreckage, they don't find a piece of space rock.
They don't.
They find a piece of pink and white plastic.
A piece of plastic that perfectly matches Elle Harlow's missing custom guitar.
The very guitar that supposedly vanished with her 18 years ago.
That's such a wild moment.
The meteor completely forces Marijohn out of her holding pattern. It provides physical proof that the myth of Elle Harlow's demise or survival is anchored right in Marijohn's own backyard.
Right.
It demands action. It proves that the past isn't just some story Abe tells. It is a physical reality buried in the mud of Lenora.
But discovering that physical piece of plastic in the mud shatters Abe's entire museum of ghosts.
Oh, completely.
Because if the guitar didn't vanish into thin air, it means a real physical human being put it there.
Right.
And to figure out who, we have to look at the woman Elle was before the myth, which means we must travel back to the early 1970s to uncover who the real Elle Harlow was before she became a ghost story on a marquee.
Right. And to understand Elle Harlow, you really have to understand her origins in the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia.
Yeah, she wasn't born a legend.
Not at all. She was born into deep poverty and trauma. Her father, Hosea, returned from the war fundamentally broken, distant, and demanding.
Just a hard life.
But the defining tragedy of Elle's life revolves around her beloved sister, Mary.
Mary is the anchor.
She really is. She is the one who teaches Elle to sing, to play the mandolin, to heal. But during a violently bad storm, Elle throws a temper tantrum.
Like kids do.
Right. She defies Mary, refusing to get out of the rain. Mary, trying to protect her sister, gets into her Ford truck to drive her home.
Oh, this part is so hard to read.
It really is. Because of the storm, Mary crashes into the river and drowns in the cab of the truck while Elle watches, entirely helpless.
The guilt Elle carries from that is just absolute.
It consumes her entirely.
She feels responsible not just for Mary's death, but for surviving when Mary didn't. Consumed by this grief and carrying Mary's broken mandolin, Elle flees the mountain.
She runs to Nashville.
Yeah, hoping to outrun her own reflection, to find some way to channel this agonizing darkness into music.
She gets to Nashville, and she is basically a feral grieving stray at this point.
Yeah, busking on the streets, stumping for change, completely broke.
And that is exactly when she crosses paths with Josie Starling.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because Josie Starling is everything Elle is not.
Right.
Josie is wealthy, blonde, raised in high society, and trained as a classical pianist. But Josie's parents disowned her because she rejected classical music.
She wants to be a country star.
Right. She has a job at the prestigious Weston Studios, run by the powerful Arlo Weston, but she can't seem to break through because, frankly, her music lacks authenticity.
It lacks pain.
Exactly. And the friendship they strike up is incredibly toxic and deeply codependent.
Oh, it's a mess.
They bond over this shared feeling of being, as Josie puts it, constant disappointments to their families. Elle starts sneaking into Weston Studios at night with Josie, and they play together in the dark. It feels like magic to them. But the power dynamic is completely skewed.
Very skewed. Josie invites Elle to her family mansion for Thanksgiving. And there, Elle discovers Josie's darkest secret.
Jacqueline.
Right. Josie is hiding her severely troubled twin sister, Jacqueline, in the back of the house. Jacqueline has self-inflicted wounds, she is bleeding, and Josie's family is basically just ignoring her.
Treating her as an embarrassment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Elle, tapping into the mountain instincts she learned from Mary, steps in. She cleans Jacqueline's wounds. She sings to her to calm her down. She does what Josie is entirely incapable of doing.
But the gratitude doesn't last, of course.
What?
Elle realizes that Josie's family bought her brother's way out of the Vietnam War draft by
Yes.
paying for college classes he doesn't even attend. And I want to pause here because we need to contextualize this for you.
Is important context.
Elle grew up poor. She watched her father get drafted and broken by war. And now she is sitting in a mansion with a family who simply wrote a check to avoid that exact same fate.
She is furious.
Furious. They have this blowout fight. Elle leaves, goes back to the mountains for Christmas, and completely isolates herself.
That historical context is really crucial. I mean, the Vietnam draft was the defining cultural fracture of that era.
Absolutely.
It dictated who lived and who died, based largely on socioeconomic status. And when Elle finally emerges from her grief in the mountains and turns on the radio,
Oh, man.
she hears something impossible. She hears her own melody. She hears the song she wrote, the song born from the agony of losing Mary.
But it's not her voice on the radio.
No, it's Josie Starling.
Josie recorded Elle's song, the song that would become known as Heal Nothing, and claimed it entirely as her own.
It's so brazen.
And to make it even worse, to sell the record to a war-weary America, Josie and the studio head, Arlo Weston, invent a fake PR narrative. They claim Josie wrote the album for her beloved soldier boy named Luke, who is bravely fighting overseas.
It is the ultimate violation. I want you to really think about that. Ask yourself, have you ever felt a friend subtly or overtly co-opt your personality, your jokes, your ideas?
It's the worst feeling.
Now magnify that by 1,000. Elle's deeply personal pain, her mourning for her dead sister, has been commodified, packaged with a blonde smile and a fake patriot narrative, and sold to the masses.
Wow.
Josie wanted Elle's authenticity, her raw trauma, and her talent, while Elle was just craving the safety and belonging that Josie's world seemed to provide. It is a friendship built entirely on mutual theft.
It literally makes you sick to your stomach reading it. Your art, your trauma, completely hijacked to serve someone else's brand.
Right.
But I'm struggling to understand why Elle didn't just go to the press.
A lot of people wonder that.
Right, like why didn't she walk into a newspaper office and expose the theft right then and there?
Because the music industry machinery of the 1970s was an impenetrable fortress, and Arlo Weston held all the keys.
Ah, right.
Stripped of her music and her identity by Josie, Elle drives through the night to confront Arlo at his studio. Arlo, being the ultimate pragmatic shark, makes a chilling calculation.
He's ruthless.
He tells her she can't expose Josie because the industry will absolutely crush Elle for ruining the patriotic illusion America is currently desperate to believe.
So unfair.
Instead, he offers her a deal. He offers her a record deal of her own.
Yeah.
But she has to write it in secret, away from Nashville, until the heat dies down.
So Arlo sends Elle to a remote freezing cabin in the woods of Pennsylvania to write this new album. He wants her isolated.
Right.
And when Elle arrives at this cabin, she finds she isn't actually alone. There is a brooding, quiet luthier, guitar maker living there.
Yeah.
He introduces himself only as Weston.
Weston is making these custom mandolins, branding them with an omega symbol. And despite her anger, despite the thick walls she has put up since the betrayal, Elle falls passionately, deeply in love with him.
They spend 6 weeks together in this cabin.
Yeah, they swim in the freezing creek, they write music together. Weston understands her pain in a way no one else has.
It's a beautiful section.
He tells her that her music makes him feel less alone in his own losses. She writes her masterpiece album, Wounds from a Lover, entirely for him. It's a total rebirth.
But just as winter is closing in and Elle brings up the idea of returning to Nashville together, she wakes up one morning and Weston is gone.
Just gone.
He vanished without a trace, without a single note. And to add insult to injury, he took Mary's precious broken mandolin with him. Elle is gutted all over again.
She's completely hollowed out, but she channels that devastation into her music.
Like she always does.
Right. Fast forward to 1973. Elle is a rising star. She is finally getting her breakthrough performance at the Grand Ole Opry.
This is huge.
This is the moment she has bled for. She steps out onto the stage, the spotlight hits her, and she looks down into the front row. And there is Josie Starling.
Of course she's there.
But Josie isn't alone.
Wait, back up. Are you telling me Josie was sitting in the front row with the draft dodger from the woods?
Yep.
How did Arlo even pull that off logistically without the press finding out?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the sheer depth of the deception becomes sickening. Yes, Josie is sitting in the front row, arm in arm, with a man in an army uniform.
Oh my God.
And Elle realizes, with absolute horror, that the man in the uniform is Weston, the luthier from the woods.
It's a mind-bending revelation. How does an artist even process that?
I don't know that they can.
Weston's real name is Luke Weston. He is Arlo Weston's cousin. He wasn't some romantic hermit. He was hiding in the woods in Pennsylvania to dodge the Vietnam draft.
Right.
He is the living embodiment of Josie's fake soldier boy PR narrative.
Exactly.
Josie didn't just steal Elle's song, she stole her lover. She literally mapped her fake public relations story directly over Elle's lived, breathing reality.
Arlo engineered the entire thing. He hid his cousin in the woods to protect him from the draft, sent Elle there knowing they would cross paths, and then used their genuine romance to flesh out the backstory for Josie's fake soldier.
It's evil.
It was an act of total erasure. Arlo and Josie took every genuine thing Elle had, her grief for her sister, her love for Weston, and repurposed it for profit. As you asked, how does an artist recover from that?
They can't.
For Elle, the answer is she doesn't. Not in that moment. She stands on that stage, processes this monumental betrayal, and instead of screaming, she plays her song flawlessly, completely barefoot.
Yeah.
She pours every ounce of her remaining soul into that performance, and then she drops her guitar, walks off the stage, flees out the back door into her Studebaker, and drives into the night.
She effectively erases herself.
Exactly, to deny them any more of her light.
Which brings up the most glaring logistical nightmare of the entire story. We know why Elle ran from the Opry. We know she was shattered. But how on earth does this frantic flight from Nashville result in an infant Marijohn being left in a wicker trunk at Abe Shaw's remote gas station in Pennsylvania?
Right, the baby.
This is where we have to untangle the absolute darkest secret of the book.
The timeline reveals a deeply tragic series of events. A year prior to this Opry performance, Josie Starling became pregnant.
Oh, wow.
But Josie's fundamentally broken. Her twin sister, Jacqueline, died right around the time Josie gave birth. Josie is traumatized, she is terrified, and she tells Arlo Weston she absolutely cannot handle being a mother.
She's unfit.
She is completely unfit.
So Arlo, the ever-capulating fixer, steps in. He fakes a European tour for Josie so she can disappear and give birth in secret at a private facility.
Yeah.
He handles the PR, he hides the scandal, but he's left with a crying infant that Josie refuses to look at.
And Arlo knows that Josie needs a distraction. He needs her compliant and working. So on the night of the Opry, while Elle is confronting the betrayal of seeing Weston and Josie together, Arlo takes the infant. He knows Elle Harlow's psychology better than anyone. He knows she has a caregiver's heart, that she couldn't even leave a bleeding stranger alone at Thanksgiving.
Oh, no.
Arlo places the baby, Marijohn, in the back seat of Elle's Studebaker, fully aware that Elle is about to run.
I have to interject because using a human infant as a literal speed bump is staggering.
It really is.
It is like a ruthless corporate fixer using a bomb threat to stop a whistleblower from going to the press.
That's a great comparison.
Arlo calculates that Elle won't drive off a cliff, won't ruin the industry's secrets if she suddenly realizes she has a vulnerable child to protect. It is the absolute peak commodification of human life for the sake of the music industry.
It demonstrates the terrifying logic of a man who views people purely as assets or liabilities.
Yeah.
So we follow Elle's frantic, desperate drive from Nashville heading north toward Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
She is exhausted. She is hallucinating the ghost of her dead sister, Mary, in the passenger seat. She hears the baby crying in the back. But Elle has just been told, essentially, that her love is toxic, that everything she touches gets stolen or broken.
That's her mindset.
She feels like a dark beast, completely incapable of mothering a child. She believes that keeping the baby would be the ultimate act of cruelty.
So she pulls into Abe Shaw's gas station. She sees this young, earnest, kind-hearted man who is starstruck by her.
Right.
She signs the pump, writing that lyric, "Try to heal everything and you'll heal nothing at all," which is basically her resignation letter to the world.
Yeah.
She leaves the baby in the wicker trunk in the shadows, buys some gas, and takes off. She drives her Studebaker straight into the river to fake her own death,
Sinking the car and the final piece of her identity.
returning to the anonymity of the mountains.
If we look at the thematic structure here, the parallel of abandonment is profound. You have Marijohn, an infant, at the center of this nexus of adult failure.
So much failure.
Josie abandons Marijohn out of pure fear and trauma. Arlo discards Marijohn as a tactical pawn to manage his talent. Elle abandons Marijohn out of a deeply ingrained sense of perceived unworthiness. She thinks she is saving the child from herself.
Wow.
Among all these people, only Abe, the lonely, grief-stricken gas station attendant, hears the cry in the dark, chooses to stay, and chooses to nurture.
That's so powerful.
Abe's love, built on a foundation of fake memorabilia, is actually the only pure, uncomplicated thing in Marijohn's entire origin story.
It really reframes Abe, doesn't it?
It does.
He looks like a fool to the outside world buying fake rhinestone barrettes. But he was the only one brave enough to do the real work of loving that child.
Exactly.
But of course, 18 years of secrets, lies, and hiding can only stretch so far. They finally snap back like a rubber band in 1991 when the meteor hits and the ghost decides it is time to come home.
Days after that meteor strikes the ravine and unearths the pink and white plastic of Elle's guitar, a woman walks onto Abe's porch. It's Elle Harlow. She isn't dead. She'd been living quietly back in the Appalachian Mountains with her mother. But she saw a news broadcast about the meteor strike in Lenora, and on that broadcast, she saw Marijohn and Lazarus playing music.
And she recognized the mandolin.
She recognized Mary's broken mandolin. She has come to get it back.
I just love Marijohn in this moment because she doesn't just hand over the instrument and bow down to the legend. She demands the truth.
Yeah, she stands her ground.
She has been waiting her entire life for this moment. She looks at Ella and asks the question that has haunted her. Are you my mother?
And Ella, forced into a corner, finally tells her the truth. She reveals the whole ugly history of Arlo, Weston, and the Opry.
And she tells Marijohn that Josie Starling is her biological mother.
This revelation sets the climax into motion. Marijohn, accompanied by Lazarus, who has returned because he realizes he can't live without her, accounting degree be damned,
Thank goodness.
drives through the night to Nashville. They go straight to the gated mansion where Josie lives as a recluse. Marijohn confronts her. She stands in the garden, holding her mandolin like a shield, and asks Josie the only question that matters.
Did you ever sing to me?
Right.
But the anticipation here is just brutal. You want the sweeping cinematic reconciliation. But Josie's response is crushing.
It is.
Josie looks at her, terrified, fragile, and says, "No, I didn't. I'm sorry." And she retreats back into the dark house, leaving Marijohn standing in the driveway. It is a devastating rejection.
This raises an important question, doesn't it? How do you move forward when the person you thought would complete you, the mother you build your entire internal mythology around, wants absolutely nothing to do with you?
I don't know.
For Marijohn, this rejection is actually her liberation. It is agonizing, yes, but it completely severs the fantasy. She no longer has to wait for a magical maternal reunion to validate her existence. She is free to define herself.
And define herself she does, in the most spectacular, chaotic way possible. Marijohn, Laz, and Elle stage an unsanctioned pop-up concert right on the front lawn of Arlo Weston's sprawling estate.
It's brilliant.
They literally bring the music to the doorstep of the man who stole it. And Marijohn does something even bolder. She tracks down Weston,
The luthier,
who has been living quietly on Arlo's property this whole time, and forces him to come help them set up the stage. She orchestrates the reunion of Elle and her lost lover.
The concert itself is a masterstroke of reclaiming power. The world thinks Elle Harlow is returning from the dead. The crowds gather, the media descends.
It's a huge spectacle.
Elle steps up to the microphone, but the true victory of the night does not belong to the legend. The true victory belongs to the girl who was left behind at the gas station. Elle introduces Marijohn to the crowd.
And Marijohn, overcoming a lifetime of stage fright and hiding in the shadows, steps up to the mic.
She doesn't sing an Elle Harlow cover. She doesn't sing a Josie Starling stolen hit.
Yep.
She sings her own song, a ballad she wrote called Both Ways, or Hear Me Out.
Yeah.
She sings about holding a place for sorrow, about loving someone and missing them, even when they stand right in front of you. She is accompanied by Elle on the guitar, but the voice is entirely her own.
She finally accepts that she doesn't need Josie's validation because her true family, the people who actually stayed and fought for her, are Abe and Lazarus.
It is a profound synthesis of her journey. She takes the pain of her origins, the musical legacy of the women who abandoned her, and the steadfast love of the men who raised her, and she transmutes it all into her own original art.
Exactly.
She is no longer just a relic in a museum of missing things. She is the artist.
When you distill this incredible story down, you realize this isn't just a mystery about a missing country singer. It is a deep, unflinching exploration of the agonizing cost of making art.
It really is.
It is about the generational ripples of grief, how trauma gets passed down like a broken mandolin. And ultimately, it is about the realization that the people who choose to stay in the messy, hard reality with us, like Abe with his fake artifacts and Lazarus coming back from college, they are the ones who truly make us who we are.
It challenges us to look at the holding patterns in our own lives.
Hmm.
Think about the missing things in your own life right now.
Yeah.
The apologies you never received, the relationships that evaporated without closure, the dreams that didn't pan out the way you planned. There's a universal danger in tying your self-worth entirely to someone else's capacity to love you, just as Marijohn initially did with Josie.
Are you standing there pumping gas at a shrine to the past, curating your own museum of fake artifacts? Or are you ready to pick up your instrument, step out of the shadows, and play your own song?
As you ponder that, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought regarding the architect of so much of this pain.
Orlo Weston.
Arlo Weston. By every conventional metric, Arlo is undeniably the villain of this story. He orchestrates intellectual theft. He hides draft dodgers to manipulate his talent, and he literally abandons an infant in the backseat of a car.
Yeah, his actions are reprehensible.
He is a monster. But, this is a big, but he is also the engine that ensured the music survived.
That's true.
He made sure Elle's royalty checks were paid for 18 years. He provided a safe haven and an income for Weston's injured family when they had nothing. He recognized raw talent and forced it into the light, even when the artists themselves wanted to hide.
So it's complicated.
Very. Is Arlo Weston simply a monster? Or is he the raw, ugly, unvarnished truth of the entertainment industry personified?
Wow.
Can immortal art, the kind of music that defines a generation and heals wounded strangers, even exist without a ruthless pragmatist operating in the shadows, pulling the levers and making the brutal calculations? It forces you to chew on the morality of the art you consume every day.
It really does.
What was sacrificed and who was used to create the songs that save you?
It brings us right back to that dilapidated gas station on the dark rural highway. The lines between villain and savior, between truth and myth, are incredibly murky. The next time you find yourself staring at a jagged white line in your own life, remember that the story doesn't end where the damage is done. It ends with what you decide to build out of wreckage.